Hello and welcome to this week's Gig Harbor Market Update. It is the first recording of the year. It is the first week of January, and that means we're going to have fresh data here to sift through. It is last year's data, but it is December, so it's the most recent data that we have. And we're going to be looking at what happened towards the end of the year and what it spells for this year going forward. So if that's something you're interested in, stay tuned. We're going to be talking about that. And if it sounds like I'm talking through my nose, it's because I have a cold or something like that. And well, it's more, I'm used to talking to my ass more than I am through my nose, so just bear with me here. So without much further ado, let's look at the data, see what it says, and what we can expect going forward. Now let's get into our latest greatest data. This is for Gig Harbor, and this is our 12-month rolling data. Why are we starting off with a 12-month rolling data? It's because you see this little blip here. Last month we were talking about what happened in November, and we had a huge jump in the median sales price, and this is why rolling data is so important, that we have different time periods to sift through so we can get rid of some of these outlier data points, so we can see that that jump really gets smoothed out once we go to the 12-month rolling data. But I still like the 3-month rolling data because it is more up to date, but we can see currently we just dropped almost by $100,000 here in median sales price. And that's not because of the market hitting the fan, it's just because we had an outlier data point up here, and really what we have is just a seasonal trend that kind of got bucked somehow, and then we're back to where we should have been. So my prediction all along was right, and then yeah, it's just with low inventory we can have these data points that move numbers erratically. So yeah, we're back down to 720 as our median sales price here in Gig Harbor. And that's pretty much what we can expect seasonally. We usually see a low here in January and February, and so we still have a little bit here to go. Probably that'll take us down to 700,000, assuming January doesn't hold any new surprises, because we did have a lot of canceled listings. Anyway, we'll talk more about that. But so we're at 720. What can we expect for the rest of well, the winter season is, I expect another $20,000 down in median sales price, and then from that we'll probably flatline and then jump back up as we hit the spring selling season. So good news, we haven't lost too much housing value here in Gig Harbor, so that's just for that. Now let's get on to new listings. These are the new listings. Let's see, let's do monthly data because this is 3-month rolling. This is monthly data for the amount of listings each month. No longer last year, 2022 December, we had 19 listings. Last month we had 20 listings, so we had that horrible crunch in supply continue. So yeah, it was a very sluggish month for real estate, and this is something I expected. I expected something between 15 and 25 listings, so that boom right in the middle. So that's where we are. The good news is that December does have the lowest amount of listings of any month in the year, so we can expect January to hopefully push us up towards a more healthy number. And so far what I've seen is just the last 4 days we've had 11 listings, so that's incredible for the fact that it's January. But again, I think a lot of this stems from the fact that people pulled their listings offline because they weren't selling, so a bunch of canceled listings in the last couple months. And I think as we start getting towards the spring market, we're going to see a little bit more listing action, just because these are properties that are being relisted on the market. It's not new sellers entering the market, so that might push us a little bit into more of a active market going forward this year. So I'm hoping to have this reversal pretty dramatic here as we go through the next couple months. So fingers crossed, we need those listings. All right, now for days on market. Days on market here. All right, so this is our current days on market, which we're currently at 22 days on market, and it's been kind of erratic. As we see, October had 7 days on market, then we went back up to 17, now 22. So we're basically where we were in September. So I think October was an outlier. I don't know what happened in October, but if we just remove that data point, basically by putting in rolling 3-month or rolling 6-month, I'd say we see more of a smooth trend line here. However, 13 days on market I don't think is realistic. I think 22 is definitely more indicative of what's happening in the market. Now, I would like to point out the fact that this is the median, I assume this is the median sales price house because it is the median home. So if we go into the homes that are priced at $1 million or more, they're taking much longer to sell. And here we see 62 days on market for anything priced in the $1 million range or higher, which is quite extraordinary since back of, well, I want to say last year, 2023, middle of 2023, we had even $1 million homes sell in 5 days or less. So that's, well, go under contract, not sell. So that's quite a huge jump in median days on market. So something to consider if you're thinking about selling a home or looking for buying a home in the $1 million range. They take a while to move. Okay, with that being said, let's look at inventory level, supplies pending. So this is our inventory. We're now at 1.5, and that is very seasonally predictable here. Last year, or I'm gonna say last year, 2022, we had 1.4, and then it dropped to 1.1 in January. Prior to that, we had December at 0.3, and they kind of bottomed out there. Same the year prior with 0.4, and so we can most likely expect either a small drop into January or a level off. Just judging by our current listing volume, I think it'll probably level off or just slightly drop to maybe 1.3 or 1.4. Month supply of inventory is another way of saying it's going to take 1.5 months for buyers to buy up the existing amount of inventory in the market. So if no other home was to get on the market, we would be out of houses for sale in 1.5 months. That's basically what it's saying. So it tracks, well, it keeps track of seller and buyer dynamics. If we go back 10 years, where do we come up with, well, January we can see is the low here, December, January, January. So this is really the trough of the market, and 1.5, 1.3 is not something we haven't seen before. So I wouldn't be too scared about that, but it shows you that even with the historic supply slump, our buyers are still in this historic supply demand dynamic. Is so supply is low, demand is low, but it's something that is how do I explain this? The dynamic has been seen before, so we still have buyers out there in the extent that we have the amount of sellers out there historically. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. Okay, next we're gonna go to shows per listing. Pop this back on. All right, shows per listing. We are at 4.7, and what do you know? We ticked up a little bit. So in November we had 3.5. So this is foot traffic essentially. So how many groups are going through a scheduled showing? This does not count open houses. This is purely tracking the amount of people that went into a home and toured it with an agent. So November 3.5, December 4.7, which is a good sign because looking at the past, like in 2022 we had 3.1, and then it jumped, and then that kind of set the course for the remainder of the year, really into spring and everything. So again, here we had November, December, an increase, and then the rest of the spring we had quite a bit of foot traffic coming through. Again, and here in 2020 we had 7.8, jumped up in December again, and then we had a huge jump here for the rest of the season. So that is a heartening sign that we have a renewed buyer interest. So people are starting to dust off the cobwebs off their shoulders and start entering the market again. So that's a good sign. Interest rates are coming down. People are now thinking, it's worth to start looking at houses again. And this is promising. I think this is something to look forward to, that the spring season will actually be a little bit more, how would you say, dynamic than I originally thought. That higher for longer would spell another sluggish 2024. But again, that remains to be seen. We'll see what the Fed does, but they're expecting to drop interest rates, especially that it's an election year, and the Fed doesn't like to meddle with an election by having a certain economic stance when the presidents are being chosen, because they don't want to be more of a unbiased party. So let's just be hopeful. Interest rates are coming down. Hopefully not too fast, because if they come down too fast, that spells trouble for the economy. And I've already done a couple of videos showing the risks that are currently in the economy, especially when we look at what's happening in the rest of the world. Europe is entering a recession. Japan is probably going to enter a recession. China's going to enter a recession. And what does that mean for the U.S.? So, yeah, let's hope that the Fed only drops 3 times this year. If they drop more than that, it's not a good thing. Anyway, with that being said, the spring season looks promising. So if you want to do some selling, it's probably best to do it early in the spring before any economic or financial crisis hits. So anyway, that being said, Happy New Year's. Hopefully you had some good resolutions you're going to stick to. I'm doing intermittent fasting, so yay, I'm not eating until 2 p.m. So I got my 8-hour eating window, or 6-hour eating window, 6 hours. So that's fun. So we'll see how that goes. I'll let you know. My goal is 30 pounds to lose it. So anyway, that's enough. Just drop a comment what you're doing for yourself, for your New Year's resolution, and I'll see you next week. All right. Happy New Year's.